What did you think I was doing? I was polishing me fermenter. Yes, it's finally arrived, the brew porn. Big-ish and shiny. Why is it in the bathroom, you ask? Well, it is currently been here for 2 days, full of water, to make sure it doesn't leak. And it doesn't. We've got the lid there with a spring clip release. Straight cylinder down. You've got a band with welded legs that freely rests in here. You can rotate it. I think if you unscrew the tap portion just there, that will rotate round, and I think you can lift the whole thing out. I haven't tried yet, but that's your racking tap which rotates round. A little end there unscrews and flows out. If that whole section unscrews from the welded body, so you could put a 1/2 inch ball valve on there if you wanted to replace that. But so I was a little bit dubious whether that would be okay, but it's held fine. There's only an O-ring sealing that thread. Absolutely no problems at all. And we've got a welded tripod base off of that band down to the bottom outlet, which is I think 1 inch ball valve. Straight down onto a threaded end. There's no nozzles or anything fitted to that yet, and the same with the top. Let me come up. So we've got a little hole there, about 10mm, for a ring and a airlock, which didn't come with this. I did acquire the one from the other, but it doesn't quite fit in that, so I've got to find my other little red rubber rings that go around these, or try one of the grommet style ones to fit in there. If not, I may put a brass 10mm fitting or whatever I can find, and actually put a small valve on here with an adapter. But there's a silicone rubber seal around the inside of the lid. You can hear it's reasonably solid. Going for the shot there and get the dust cap out of the way. This is only a 30 litre conical, it's the smallest one they do. Didn't want the 50 for the extra money. I don't plan on brewing large batches, so I thought this, for what I was paying for it, the 50 litre was about another £85 more, which isn't a huge amount, but enough, and I couldn't really go for the 50. I couldn't get the dimensions from them. There's obviously the other thing to think about is fitting it inside a fridge to use it for lagering, and this one obviously will accommodate hopefully my larger fridge. The other one I think is obviously a lot wider, greater diameter, so there may have been a risk and sort of ended up, I think if you watch Paul Wicksteed's channel, he's got a drinks chiller. He had to put an extra collar round and bring the door out to allow for the fermenter to clear, give him enough clearance to shut the door. So I'm going for this one, and it seems okay. The only issue I've got is some small dents around the lid, which I am going to phone up about and just moan. See if I can get a little bit more discount off them. But basically there's just like those chemical drum bands, and then you've just got a straightforward pressed lid. Somewhere along here there's a couple of little dents just in the edge here, but you can see she's full. I don't know whether you can get shot inside there. I'm shadowing the light, but yeah, it's down in the bottom. Straight down you can see the ball valve there. So, leak test has passed. So there we are, the final part, eventually, of the Shiny Brew porn saga is here. At last. Me new baby. This valve that rotates 360 degrees either way. To turn it on, like so. And just turn it when you're done. And if you unscrew that all the way and then rotate that around, it unscrews from there. But I've not had any leakage from it. And the big boy at the bottom. Hey! It's like Saturday night after you've had the curry on the Friday night. Well, the latest bargain for this week is a 6 foot long, slightly just over 6 foot by slightly just over 3 foot deep stainless steel table. And underneath there is that bit at the back, which is galvanised sheet steel, so that the whole bottom piece is a shelf. Managed to get it in my car, well, on top of my car, for a 25 quid bargain price. And we've got the base there for something else that you'll see in a future upcoming Homebrew Wednesday. Oh, brew porn or what? Was it worth the wait? I don't know. Christ, it took some bloody getting here for a simple freaking number. 40801, I can still remember the number. But could they get it right? No. Finally. Finally it arrived. Thank fuck for that. Ah, it's almost an anticlimax. It took that bloody long to get here. And I just had bad feelings, you know. When they phoned me the day it was due to arrive, and they said the hub were stopping delivering it because the box had ripped open and there was exposed metal. Then they sent another one. No kidding, it must have been, I took the bubble wrap off of it at work, and the bubble wrap must have been 50 foot long. So I got a shitload of bubble wrap. Always handy for future beer mats. But finally it is here. A Christmas present, sort of to myself, half and half. The wife's chucking in some Crimbo funds towards it, and I got it trade price, so else I wouldn't be buying it. But yeah, I've done okay on it. Well, I did manage to find another one cheaper, but I'll stick with what you know, even though it's been bloody hard going. I was tempted. I was going to buy one of those SS Brewtech ones from Malt Miller. They are the dog's danglies, but I couldn't argue with the price I could get this one for, else I would have done. And it nearly did get to the point, oh fuck it, I'm going to order their one. And then they're out of stock, because they're so good they've sold them all. But yeah, mine finally bloody turned up. Now all I've got to do is find some friggin' room for it. But yeah, not to be outdone, of course, you know, the table I had spotted on eBay some time ago and it never sold. And the guy never relisted it, and I kept it in my eBay, you know, ended items, and I'd actually deleted it. And I'd just done another search in a nearby area. And it came up again as a £63 buy it now. Why 63 I don't know, he had it up for 50 quid starting bid last time. Or a 25 quid starting bid. No reserve, so I got the wife to chuck in 35 quid on it. No one bid, so I got it for £25. What a steal. It's just over 6 foot. It's fucking big. It's like one of them little snooker tables. Because the other problem was getting it home, because the van's still off the road, and it weighs a fair bit as well. But I did manage to rummage around my sheds of many, my sheds of plenty, and find a set of roof bars that fitted my Astra. Banged them on, went over there, picked it up, bish bash boff. And I nearly snapped my son in two, because he's a little puny and he's puny. But he had to give me a hand to get the bloody thing off. And then it's too big to fit through the gate. So it's currently on the drive behind the van. So if you come and take it, I know who you are. I will find you. Yeah. And then obviously there's the galvanised sheet steel piece underneath, which is equally as large, so there's plenty of room underneath it for storage. And the free tear, well, not free tear, the free pot system will be on the top when I build it, but which is why I bought it. But the slight disadvantage, as some of you know already on Facebook, is that my shed, I think, is 8 foot by 6 foot. The table is 3'3" by 6 foot, which wouldn't leave you a lot of room in the shed once you've fitted it in. Which does bring me to another problem. Where the fuck do I put it? Answer to that question is, well, it seems it's all stainless steel at the minute, by the galvanised bit. It can live outside without any adverse effects. But obviously it's an excuse to, darling, I need to build the brewery. I have equipment that I have to put in it. Excuse. Well, it's me plan. It's the best one I could come up with at short notice. So next year's excuse to build a slightly larger, not shed, an extension to the garage, shall we say, which will house an equipment storage facility come brewery. Then the shed will become surplus-ish. Oh dear, yeah. This hobby is a bugger, innit? It just hooks you in and reels you in. Which is probably why I got a shed full of fishing gear as well. Yeah, so... well, there are other things I'm looking at, but... got to go steady, haven't you? My budget's not unlimited, but I did do pretty freaking good on it. I can't say what I did pay for it, because obviously it wouldn't be fair to retailers. Not that there are many retailers selling them, and not surprised really. Retail on it is 450 notes, which I would not pay 450 for that. But if you assume that was my budget, which it wasn't, but that would have, well, basically I've bought the mash paddle, the malt mill, the fermenter, and that fruit press for less than that. So, not a bad deal considering the malt mill's a one on its own, and the conical fermenter's 450, and I've spent less than the 450 on all of those bits. And I'm still waiting for notification on another conical. The fast ferment one from the States. Well, that's it really. Yeah, fruit press I've done, conical, and obviously I picked up that the pub equipment from the other week. So as soon as other things can be set aside, I can start a bar build as well as a brewery build. Which brings me on to obviously the search then for cheap corny kegs and CO2. But I'm sure I can get around that sooner or later. But, yeah, and I've just, if you have been watching the few beer reviews I've chucked up this week on Welsh beers, smoked beers, this is the last one, the Smoky George. Still got a little bit of life left in it. If you're, I don't know which one will come up first, probably this, then the Smoky George review. Depends on the internet how it copes. But definitely a different one, smoky, but Scotch peat malt. Now I've drunk more of it, I think there's just too much of it in there, and the flavours that come off of it spoil the beer. I would certainly try it if I had the time and inclination to go and buy whiskey peat malt and try a small batch. But I don't know what percentage they use. Obviously no commercial brewer goes into any great detail of what their recipes are, but I think there's less than 10 reviews on Beer Advocate or one of those, so they don't actually stick it online. Well, they do put it online, but it doesn't flag up with all the breakdown and average scores, because there aren't enough to collate it. Yeah, I wouldn't buy it again. I would say try it, but there's only one undisputed world champion, Schenkerla Rauchbiermausen, is the go-to smoke beer. It's streets ahead of everything else I've drunk so far, but I will review those when I get a chance. But that is pretty much it. I could waffle on for more pointless tap for another half an hour, I guess. I know the video was already 7 minutes with the intro of the fermenter. So we'll see how we get on with it as soon as we can brew something nice to put in it, and I'll probably try one of my homebrews next week. They've had 2 weeks in the bottle now, so fingers crossed. It's got a bit of carbonation now. It looks quite pressurised. I've still got one of Grant's from New Zealand, cheers, to do, and some Mick Flat Beers, other ones to cover. So it may be more. Depends, because obviously I'm working late this week and possibly next week because of the Christmas mental madness that everyone wants to buy beer, and by golly are they buying beer. I don't know how much percentage up we are from last year, but we done over 2,000 parcels last week, and a good chunk of them were on the Monday, because obviously we have Saturday, Sunday, Monday backlog. So yes, everyone's busy at work, and it's starting to drag you down now, you know, like longer days and more lifting and lunking and lumping, and yeah. Cheers. Oh dear, I almost don't lose the fucking remote again. Right. Cheers for the beers. See you next week.